And I would now like you to leave you with Mr. Cristobal Socias, Commercial Director from La Invernada Expert, one of our member companies. And Cristobal will share with us information about the current crop and what we are seeing for the rest of the season. Hi, Cristobal, and screen is all yours.
Hi, Pedro. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, maybe as well. First of all, thanks for the invitation to talk a little bit about Chilean walnuts. Also, thank you, Marcela and Oscar, for your constant support to the industry. Much appreciated. It's always valuable. Well, let's first speak a bit. Can you see the? Oh, here it is. We're going to give you a short introduction to Chile and the walnut industry. Then we will talk a little bit about the crop of 2022 and shortly a market update of the current trends on the market. So let's speak a little bit about Chile. Most of you already know Chile. It is a long and thin country, the southern hemisphere, in the extreme south of the world, let's say. It is surrounded by natural barriers that protect us from any kind of disease for the agriculture. So it is a phytosanitary island. The agriculture in Chile is one of the main activities, and in South America we are the third largest fruit grower, and in terms of walnut we are the third largest grower in the world, and also the third largest exporter. We used to be the second, but well, recently we are the third largest exporter, but we continue growing. And we can come to the question, why Chilean walnuts? Well, it is the best quality recognized worldwide. You will know all the characteristics of it. The lightest color that you can find in the market. It has a high kernel yield in terms of Chandler variety. Also, 80% of the total production of Chile is Chandler. Maybe today can be even higher than the 80%. It has a sweet taste that is valuable by the customers at the end, and that can drive further consumption. Why Chile? Reliable partners. Here you can find volume, quality, and consistency on the product delivered. And that's what the importers and final consumers are looking for. Another fact that is really important, and we've been talking about that, is counter season production. As we are in the southern hemisphere, we produce in the counter season, so we can supply walnuts when the others don't have it. Why it is important? Because we must be thinking on the consumers. We must try to give the consumers a fresh product all year round. Not only us as Chileans, but as an industry altogether. It is the perfect complement for the northern hemisphere production. In the northern hemisphere, the production takes place, the harvest during September, October, then shipments can start, let's say in October. With the current situation in logistics and the disruption, this could be moved maybe another month later, but the situation is the same. And when we take a look at the southern hemisphere production, which is Chile the main grower in that area, we see that we harvest in March, April, and we start shipping April, May. If we talk about Chandlers, we start shipping in May. It will be arriving to the markets in June, July, and we will cover the main consumption season in many of the countries. It is the perfect complement to deliver the best and freshest walnut, not only because it is the southern hemisphere, but we must keep the freshness of this product all year round. Walnuts are a semi-perishable product. Differently to other nuts, it tends to behave more like a fresh fruit than a nut itself. When you compare it with other nuts, almonds, for instance, you can store almonds for 2 years or even longer, and the product will remain in in quite good conditions. With walnuts, it is a little bit different. After a year, well, the conditions of the walnuts start to change quite a lot. It is just the perfect time for certain markets, like in India, for Diwali and other festivities that take place in October, November period. Also for Europe, we are in the past, Europe was supplied for Christmas season with California or the production in Europe itself. But due to the logistics disruption, that's not longer possible. So Chile or the Southern Hemisphere is playing a role in order to supply that period of the highest consumption during the year. And here you have a chart where you can see the production in the Northern Hemisphere, where you have the United States, China as the main grower, and some of the other growers, which are the main ones in the world. And in the Southern Hemisphere, you have Chile, Argentina, Australia, where Chile is by far the largest, but the total walnut production is around 2,300,000 tons, where only 9% of the total production comes from the Southern Hemisphere. I mean, that should trigger something in our minds that something is not right. We must to be thinking about the fresh of the product, how to reach the consumers at the end with a fresh product. Now, if we come to the crop 2022, Edmundo already showed this chart, and you can see that the volume has been growing and it will continue growing. And this is a good news. If we see the previous slide, you saw that the production in the Southern Hemisphere is only 9% of the total production. So we really need, as an industry, that the production in the Southern Hemisphere to grow in order to keep and deliver a best and fresher product to the final consumers. In terms of the quality of this season, well, here we have a summary of the last 6 years, 7 years, and then the average of it. In terms of the sizes, 36 plus is around 13%, and 34, 36, 28%. We've been talking a lot during the season that what we have seen on the orders is that the sizes are a little bit smaller. Well, I can tell you that as a company, what we have seen is that the 36 plus is below 10%, is nearly 8% actually. The 34, 36 is around the 28%, so hasn't been a big change in that size. But all the reduction in the 36 plus is going into the 30, 32, and 32, 34. The undersize is not actually more than the previous year, so it's just average. So it looks like in the middle of the middle size is where the main production will be. And there will be some scarcity of bigger sizes. In terms of the color, this chart is quite interesting because you can see that it changed year after year. And we have, I always hear Edmundo Valderrama said that there is a year on and a year off. And it looks like this year it will be closer to the average that you can see there. So we can expect around 65, 66% of extra light instead of 74 that we had last year. So it will be a little bit darker, yes, but it is still a great product, the one that we are seeing on this year production. In terms of the yield, as we said, Chile produced tundras with a higher yield, and the average we can see in the last during the last years is almost 50%. This year we're looking at an average of 49.5% roughly. So it is still a pretty good cracking out yield, which is very important for some importers that process afterwards. Well, a big question. We had a rain recently, and how this will affect the crop. Well, it's a question mark that we don't know yet, because it was just recently. But here we have a comparison between the hectares planted by zone or by region, and a chart with the rain that we have in that region. So we can see that in the south of Chile, there was a very big rain in Linares and Los Angeles that took place between April 18th and April 24th. But in that area, the production is much smaller than in the central zone. Also, that area started to harvest a little bit earlier than in the central zone. At that time, when the rain started, probably 80 or even up to 90% of the crop was already harvested. So the effect of it on that area will be, I'm not going to say minimal, but reduce it. Also in the central zone, there was rain between April 25th and 29th. It was between 20 to 30 millimeters. It was an important rain, not a huge one, but an important rain that might affect some of the chandler, the latest harvested chandlers, but the effect will be also reduced. So we're estimated preliminary that around 10% of the chandler production will be somehow affected or will be post-rain, but the effects of it on the final quality, we must to check it out during the next coming weeks. Well, let's talk a little bit about the market and how it is moving. First, let me just give a short introduction to this area particularly. So all Chilean exports, we can separate it by zones, and Europe is the main destination for Chilean walnut. But if we take Middle East and Far East, combining the main destination countries like India or Turkey, it is 44%. So it's the second zone of destination for Chilean walnuts worldwide. If we go into this zone of Middle East and Far East, we can see that India and Turkey are almost equal, but India took over as the main destination country for Chile. And then we had Dubai, Vietnam, Morocco. But you can see that it is well spread, but the importance of the zone and these two main countries is really important. And that's why we are doing this webinar. Let's go into India first. And you can see that in this chart that the split between Chile and USA in terms of the export to India. India is an interesting case because the Chilean walnut has been taking an important part of the total consumption. In India, they started later than the other markets, let's say, or opening the market for Chilean walnut, but they rapidly start to consider understanding the importance of the freshness, the importance of the quality, and that's why Chile is having preferences against the Northern Hemisphere production. But it is a perfect complement for that. India also produced their own walnut, and Chile can, in another period of the year, as a complement, and especially for the festivity season. If we take a look at Turkey, well, the situation is a little bit different. If we compare Chile and California, Turkey started to purchase Chile a long time ago, but in terms of the percentage of the total, it is still low. Also considering that Turkey is importing a lot of walnut from other regions in the Northern Hemisphere mainly. So when we talk about freshness again, the imports of Chile or the southern hemisphere imports into Turkey, there is still a long opportunity to grow in order to have a more balanced supply from northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. Same situation in Dubai. Dubai is a trading market, also influenced by India and all the Middle East countries. But again, Chile tend to have a smaller, or let's say not only Chile, but the southern hemisphere having a smaller piece of the pie of the total walnut supply, which, in my belief, there is a huge opportunity to keep growing. Well, let's talk about the current crop and how the shipments are. We started a little bit later this year because the harvest was a little bit later, especially for CERS, which come together with some of the harvest of chandlers, especially from the south. So that delay a little bit the shipments at the beginning, but it is taking, it's catching up these days, almost equal to last year, which was particularly good, and already much above than 2020. That's what I said. If we see the commitments, we are gathering this information through Chilenut, where most of the industry is reporting their commitments. And we can see that we are still behind 2021, which was particularly fast. But the trend is quite good. The last number was taken at April 15th and was 36% on commitments on the total crop estimated. So today, I mean, we will know in few days what are the commitments on April 30th. But it will be similar to 2020. I'm expecting a little bit slightly above 2020. It will be somewhere in between 2020 and 2021. But the trend is really positive still. Well, also important is to know the evolution of the prices. When we were at Gulfood, when we started the season, we were trading, or people was speaking about chandlers 34 between $2.50 to $2.60 per kilo FOB, for 34, 36. I mean, the bigger sizes, the prices are much bigger and has a premium, and we were expecting a smaller walnut, so the prices had a considerable premium at 310, 320, 340, and 350, as you can see in the chart. But then the market started to react very positively, and demand was coming very strongly. So already in March, the prices started to go up a little bit, and we continued till April. So there has been an increase in prices of around 10 cents per kilo, and also the expectations is that it will remain or continue at those levels, or continue the trend of increasing the prices. Well, there are some challenges and opportunities. So the first that I would like to mention is to improve the logistic. We have a big challenge on the logistic. We need to get shorter transit times, direct routing, lower rates, better planning from our side as a grower, and also for the importer. It's really important to plan in advance and have programs that we can coordinate with the shipping lines. In the past, we used to be able to book a container in a vessel for the next week. That's not longer happening. That will take three weeks, maybe 4 weeks. So planning is really important, and take the precautions on with the logistic. Also, there is challenge, especially in India, about the storage and transport. We are delivering most of, if not all, the walnuts into India in reefer containers. So keeping the cold chain is quite important. And we have seen some cases that that is not happening. So that is a big challenge on India itself, but also in the rest of the Middle East, in order to keep the product with the best conditions and the best quality possible. Marcel already mentioned it, the duties for India, that's a big challenge and a big opportunity too. We are discussing, as she said, the free trade agreement, and hopefully walnuts will be part of it. With the current logistics situation and the higher rates on freight, maybe there is an opportunity for kernels as well. I mean, when we ship in shells, you're also paying freight and taxes for the shell. So if we're able to deliver some kernels, maybe there is an opportunity over there. So we must to keep looking at certain opportunities. Not everything is bad, but depending how we look at it, opportunities may rise. We will maintain the successful campaign that we run it in India. Hopefully we can do it in other places as well. And that is a big challenge to really promote and put in the minds of not only the trade, but also in the consumer's mind that the walnut is a good product, not only healthy, but tasteful. And that's why the whole industry, we must start taking care of the consumers and try to deliver the best quality and a fresh product, because that's the only way that we will boost consumption. Another challenge for us is to keep the quality produced and delivered to the final consumers. Maybe, as I said, the main challenge and opportunity as well is to increase consumption. And how we can do it? By delivering the best quality, always a fresh product, improving the supply chain, and by innovation. And what I mean with innovation, first, well, the first thing, let's at least deliver a fresh product with a good quality. Secondly, when we already comply on that, we can start to innovate, to deliver flavored walnuts, coated walnuts, maybe develop spreads, include walnuts in trail mixes. That's not really something that in many countries is taking place. In many countries, they are taking out walnuts of the trail mixes. Why? Because eventually the product will not be fresh and will contaminate the rest of the mix. If we deliver a fresh product, it will be they will be able to take it into the trail mixes. Nut bars, why not include walnuts? Because also, if the product is not fresh, will contaminate the final bar. So a big challenge is to keep the freshness. If we do that, a lot of the innovation will take place, and that way we can really increase consumption. That's basically it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Cristobal, for the information. Thank you for the presentation. And as you mentioned, we have a lot of challenges ahead of us for this season, not only in these markets, but worldwide. But we are sure we have the best product. And as Chilenut, we will continue working to have a very joint industry and face all these challenges together as one. Thanks to everyone that has joined in. As I mentioned at the beginning, please remember to check our website on a regular basis, www.chilenut.cl, and subscribe to the newsletter so you can get our information all the time. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, all the people that have shared their presentations, the assistants, and we hope to keep in touch as much as possible. Have a very good afternoon, a very good morning, and a very good night to some of you. Bye-bye.